What is going on, everybody? Welcome to yet a special episode of The Rose Show. As always, I'm your host, Jay. Who else but me? And today we are doing the episode that I thought of when I wanted to start this project. This was the first thing I was thinking of when I was like, ooh, who am I going to have on? But I wanted to wait for the right time, and that time is now, like John Cena. So who I got with me today? It's pretty self-explanatory. It's my old brothers from other mothers. Menace to Sobriety. I got Marty with me, Jack, Jason, and of course, the man of the hour, Doc. The reason why we're all here, sitting here together, even though he might not want to admit it sometimes, and he'll blow you off every time you try to get credit for something, but it's fine. So, again, the reason why we're here is because we kind of want to do something that I felt like we didn't get an opportunity to do, and that's kind of talk about the overall story of Menace to Sobriety from really start to finish. It's never really been put out there in a platform of such that, you know, we've given, you know, short stories here and there, but I really want to get into everything as we didn't really get a chance to do that towards the end of everything. But we'll get into all the depressing stuff at the very end like we always do. So let's start at the very beginning. Doc, we're going to start with you. So because obviously Menace started with you. And the very, what was it, 2000, something like that? Early
2004.
2004 is when Menace to Sobriety started. So let's go ahead and start at the beginning. How did you come up with the concept of Menace to Sobriety?
Actually, it wasn't even me. It was Pete Cheney.
Okay.
So he came up with the name, and I was just rapping at parties, basically, just fucking around. And he was like, let's put together this punk band, because he was a drummer, and it just went from there, basically.
So it was his idea for the name, or whose idea?
Yeah, he came up with the name, kind of basically the concept of the group, like that it would be rapping with punk rock.
Yeah. So the original members were you, Pete Cheney.
So it'd be Jason Baker, Dave Church, Donald Nave, Pete Cheney, and Ronnie Westfall.
Okay. So when you guys put this together, because again, 2004, everybody was super young, but I think you at this point in time, you were already out of high school, you guys were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what, was it just for fun originally, or was it something?
Yeah, it was never supposed to be a serious thing. I played bass for multiple metal bands, and actually with Jason a little bit, like before he was even in Menace, and it just was just fun to do, and never really thought it was going to do anything what it would end up doing. You know, like to where I would give up playing bass guitar to do Menace to Sobriety fully.
Yeah. Did you always know that you had vocal abilities, or was that something? So you discovered it later.
I never did. I still don't. I still don't. I just
remember when I said that he doesn't take credit for anything you try to give him credit for.
No. I mean, Menace to Sobriety, we practiced 3-4 days a week because we sucked. I mean, that's just all there was to it. We were terrible, but you know, we started getting better over time.
Yeah. So the sound, was it pure punk rock in the very beginning? Because eventually it obviously morphed into more rap rock. But was it something that was pure punk rock at the very beginning?
No, it was punk rock, hip hop, right off the rip.
Right off the rip.
Yeah.
Was there specific influence?
But it wasn't metal. Like I didn't scream for like the first year or so. There was no screaming. I couldn't scream. I didn't know how to. And then I just sung Backstabbing Bitch so many times in that low gravel punk rock voice. That's how I acquired to be able to scream. And once I was able to scream, that's when we started morphing it into more of a metal rock, you know, with punk rock mixed in there.
I think you've said before that when you started to take more control, because obviously the members that you listed off were not meant for the band. So when you started to take more control of it, I think you mentioned before, you said Funk Junkies was a band that you kind of wanted to mold back in?
Yeah. Funk Junkies was a big influence on us. I mean, that was me and Pete. Like, we loved Funk Junkies. So, I mean, we were like, yeah, that would be amazing, you know, to do something even similar to them or whatever. But we wanted it to be a little heavier than, you know, we knew we weren't going to do funk. So we knew it was just going to be punk and rap.
Yeah. So out of the people sitting here, I'll have you transition in either him or him. Who was the first one to join? Jason or Marty?
Marty.
Marty was.
Yeah.
So how did that relationship? I'll let you talk to the start of how he ended up becoming in. Tell us how you met him, and then we'll take over for you, your experience with him.
Okay, so I was about 15, 16 years old, and I was going to these local shows at Grange's, which were like all ages. And they were mainly punk shows, and that's the first time I saw Marty was playing in a band, and it was literally the same time frame that I saw that band that I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, I was already interested in music, but I knew I wanted to be in a band, and it was like I was watching him, perform, and I never even performed ever before. And that's how, I mean, we never met, but that's the first time I saw him or whatever. And then, like, it was way later on down the road when these guys started Pills of a New Life.
I met him at my house, maybe, or at the brewery, maybe.
It would have been the brewery, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Do you remember what band you were playing in when?
It would have been Blunder.
Blunder?
Yeah.
What was that sound? Was that?
That was like gutter punk. Just straight, fast punk rock. Like, just no pop to it. Just as trashy punk as you can possibly go with it,
And
as
I
fast
loved
as
it.
possible. Yeah.
Do you remember meeting him for the first time?
Honestly, I couldn't say, just because I probably met him 40 times at shows.
Yeah.
And I didn't really feel like I had met him until I started hanging out with Jason, and then we ended up in the same room that way. Because I didn't, when I met Jason, I didn't meet him through Doc. I met, like, Jason and I met through Josh Slater, which was one of the guys in Blunder, that he lived with in the same town as all them. I wasn't from Bradford. All these guys that lived in Bradford and stuff, so it was just happenstance that I met Jason and then met Doc through that by chance.
So then how did that relationship come about to where you joined?
Well, we were all playing. So, like, me and Jason were playing in Pills of a New Life, and we had been playing in other bands. Doc, and then throughout that time, Doc had been playing with us here and there in bands that just side project bands we're doing, metal bands and stuff. Like, we did maybe one or two little bands in between there.
To Rise and Fall. Yeah. The side band after Pills of a New Life, I think, that we were trying to... It's like a metal band. Josh Slater, I think, was part of it for
he was
a second
at first,
also. Yeah. And Sean Saunders.
Sean Saunders, yep.
And we started jamming at Sean's house. Doc came there to play bass.
Yep.
And then we kind of kicked all the other guys out, basically, and Doc started talking to me and Marty about joining Menace, and we had the conversation at Sean's mom's house, was where the conversation happened.
Yeah.
And Doc was like, we need a bass player. And I kept talking to Marty, like, you should do it, man, you should do it. Like, we ain't doing shit, really,
Besides opening up for Menace.
Yeah. Like, we had been playing with Menace for a while at this point, so it's like it's not like I didn't know what it was and everything, and like, I'm friends with these guys at this point now. Like, we've been playing a lot together, dude. We were playing shows together.
Yeah, we were playing
a lot.
tons of shows together.
If there was a Menace show, it seemed like 80% of the time we were going to be on that show too. Like, it was just, we were local groups from that area.
And I stole them.
And he stole us, yeah.
It's very good at that. It's very good at that.
For sure.
So let's, we didn't obviously plan for this, but obviously we had an opportunity to bring in somebody that is kind of an unsung hero in Menace to Sobriety. His name's Jack. If you've seen Jack in any of our shows, Jack is the man behind all of us. He's the one who made all this work. So I'm going to cut into the notes here and kind of freestyle a little bit so I can ask you a couple questions, Jack. Did you end up getting associated with these guys just because of your friendship with Jason?
I would say that was a big part of it,
Yeah.
Because I was always hanging out with Jason. I did a couple little things with him in high school and stuff like that. And then he came to my house one day. He was like, hey, he's like, I'm in this band now, and we kind of need somebody to tag along and help us load in some equipment and stuff. He's like, you want to do that? I was like, yeah, I don't have anything to do on the weekend, so.
Probably the most productive member ever. And
By far.
Facts.
He's being polite about the conversation. I was like, Jack, you're fucking coming with me?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. And he's like, and then, you're going to have to meet Bertha because she's got to go up these steps.
Yeah.
So what was Bertha?
Bertha was Marty's bass cabinet.
Yeah.
A big goddamn.
Was that old piece of shit that you still had even to the
Yeah,
last days?
yeah,
Okay.
the giant one that's
Yeah.
as tall as I am.
Yeah, that was a heavy son of a bitch.
So I think that was the whole reason why he asked, because they didn't want to carry that shit up there.
No. The reason I asked, the reason it was important, because Jack and me had been friends for a long time, and I wanted Jack to experience it. We were going to do Juggalo shows, and Anybody Killer, and I knew Jack was about that. Like, the first time I ever heard ICP was with Jack.
Yeah.
And we was getting ready to go do an ICP show, and I was like, or not ICP, but Anybody Killer show, and I was like, Jack, you gotta fucking come to this, like, and you would be helpful, like. So I basically just forced him to go with me, and then
He never left.
Oh,
he
sure.
never stopped coming. Yeah.
It happened to all of us.
Yeah.
We got talked into one thing, and
Yeah.
then 20 years went by.
Yeah. I mean, I got the exact same story pretty much, but we'll get into mine later. Tell us who Dave Johnson is and how you got hooked up with him, because Dave was an integral part of Menace, obviously through a vast majority of
Sure.
Menace to Sobriety. So how did you get hooked up with him? And
He played for a group called Half-Life, and we were just playing shows with them. And like every other band member I had, I took him from another band.
So he was a vocalist in Half-Life?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you guys meet? It was just at a show, or
Yeah,
did you know him
I
before
think
then?
so. It was just, I think it shows. We just started playing with his group, and we just got to know them. And
Why Dave? Because obviously there was an opening and you needed to fill, and you picked Dave out of everybody. Was there
there
something?
wasn't really an everybody.
So it was just a
It
process of
was like,
elimination.
hey, this
basically.
guy plays in a band, and they rap, and it's a band, and like.
So similar styles is what made you.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was
Okay.
already doing it for Half-Life, and they were somewhat similar to us, and we were just like, oh, well, take him
Yeah.
if he wants it.
So was he reluctant at first, or was it one of these things where?
I don't think so. I think he basically signed on immediately.
Yeah. How did something that's very iconic in the story of Menace to Sobriety? There used to be a bar in Troy, Ohio called the Brewery. It was around for a very long time. It's not anymore, but it hosted shows for quite a while. And in our area, Menace to Sobriety and the Brewery ended up becoming one of those things where it was like, it wasn't out of the norm to go, hey, it's Saturday night, we're going to the brewery to see Menace to Sobriety.
Right.
For us and anybody that's interested in at least watching this, it's an iconic piece of property that was very important to your guys' rise to how that became.
Yeah.
So how did that start? Like,
I mean, in all honesty, like I said, I played for metal bands and was only doing Menace as fun, a joke, just killing time or whatever when I didn't have something going on with the other group. And we started playing the brewery shows, and we started packing that place. And as soon as I saw that reaction, that's when I was like, I'm doing this full time.
it can't be understated just how packed those shows were. I mean, they were
See the
wall
steam
to
coming
fucking
off
wall.
their heads,
Yeah.
like it was insane. Fire marshal shutted a couple of them down, like stopped. They had to stay at the door, wouldn't allow people to come in.
Right.
100 people in the upstairs of a small bar.
Right.
Yeah. It made you,
Yeah, it's packed.
almost claustrophobic, really, sometimes. Really.
It was crazy.
And if I remember that room right, that was a pretty sizable room too in the
was,
upstairs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've played smaller.
Yeah. For sure.
And they had a great sound system.
Yeah.
They really did.
Yeah.
Like, you sounded good when you played the brewery. I loved
Yeah,
playing
they
there.
had really good sound guys a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Especially for it being just this bar, like,
And they paid you.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, you got
We got
paid
paid
to play
well,
at
yeah.
the brewery, which was, like, not normal for local venues, really.
So I think you mentioned before in the past that you became a member of Menace because of something that happened at the brewery. Is that right?
No. I don't think so.
Something about you were in a band and something happened on stage.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we were, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
told you I'm very good at this.
Done this a couple times.
We were playing a show with Menace and Hills of a New Life, me, Marty, Josh Slater, TJ Orsonio, Ryan Orsonio, who later became another member of Menace to Sobriety. Playing a show, Josh goes out into the mosh pit, somehow knocks himself out in the mosh pit, wakes up, quits the band. Right there on the floor in the middle of the show.
And I smelled blood in the water. Started snatching members.
Yeah. This will become more and more evident as this episode goes along. Oh, I need a member? Oh, he's in a band. You're fucking mine now.
We had talked about it at previous times, and I was always like, yeah, I don't play punk. I wasn't a punk rock. I'm a rock and roll drummer is what
That's
I thought.
something that's very important in your story is everything that when it comes to Menace to Sobriety, you were never into.
No.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
And he was very verbal about that.
Yeah.
The
Right.
entire, 15 years.
Yeah. But not to say that I didn't get everything I needed musically and expression-wise out of playing for Menace, but I wasn't into it. Like, I helped talk Marty into doing it, but I wasn't even considering it at the time. And, yeah, that happened. Our band, we were real serious about Pills of a New Life. That was our band.
We were playing metal, we were playing metal,
Yeah. It was
screamo,
Yeah.
we were doing a whole different thing. So like I had
wasn't
played punk
exactly-
rock before, but jumping back into punk rock was not in the cards for me at the time.
No.
And
I was trying to do anything that was productive. Like, I just wanted to
Yeah.
play music in a serious band.
yeah,
And every time I watched Menace, I was like, not.
this is not serious.
Yeah, not serious at all.
Stick shift pimping.
but
This
they
is
keep
the name of
packing
the
this
song.
flight.
But yeah, they're outdoing us every fucking time. I don't understand it.
Yep.
What is happening?
Anyway, so after that happened, that's when he kind of got Marty, and we were just kind of floundering a little bit. And he called me, like, look, we're about to do a show with Power Man 5000 at the Al Rosa Villa. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. You know what I mean? Because at the time, Power Man 5000 was a huge band, Al Rosa Villa was a huge venue. To me, that was like, I would never go and play no Al Rosa Villa in my life.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I get a chance to do that, and with, to me, rock star status band, like, sold me, and like,
It was a sold out show, too.
It was.
yeah.
Continue. What happened?
So I went to Dave Church's house, and we practiced for 2 months, I think, 3 days a week, because I had no idea about any of this music. Like, I didn't know how to play it, didn't know anything about it. I knew Stick Shift Pimpin', Backstabbing Bitch or something, like a couple of the songs would get stuck in your head, so I kind of knew them. But so I grinded for like a month, maybe 2 months. Day of the show comes, I'm working, get off work, I'm a little late, so I'm trying as hard as I can to get there. Get to the exit of the Al Rosa Villa. Like, you get off, and I call Marty, and I'm like, Marty, give me the directions to get there. He's like, take a right, then take a left. You'll be there. And I'm like, okay. So I get off the interstate, take a right, drive 7 miles, maybe more, 8 miles. Call him back like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I keep going, I don't see no club nowhere. And he's like, should be right there on your left. Like, you can't miss it. 35 minutes, I think.
You can miss it.
35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes happen.
And the whole time, the promoters are like, you guys got to go on stage.
Yeah.
And we're like, our drummer's not here. They're like, well, it's eating into your time. And we're like, holy shit.
To what Marty left out was I was supposed to get off the interstate, turn left, then turn right and turn left. He left out the whole left turn. You know what I'm saying? The first...
And again, this is long before GPS. Long before
yeah,
GPS.
yeah.
So that's something that we always got to go back and remember, because some people might be like, well, why didn't you turn on Google? There was no fucking...
Yeah.
I was
Right.
following road signs.
Right.
Like, get off at this exit, turn, I think I had put a map or printed off a map how to get close to it. But
What was that, MapQuest or whatever? That was the only thing you could do? Yeah, at that point in time.
I missed the show. I ended up pulling up as they were walking off stage. They ended up going up on stage and doing...
Me and the DJ went up there and did a couple rap songs.
Yeah.
And it was sad.
And then we proceeded to go to a motel.
Because we would have killed that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went to a motel and drank beer and partied like we'd done something good, but was all very sad about that.
That's not how I remember how it all ended.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just went home, but I was pissed.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair. So, Jack, since you're here, I kind of want to ask you, what was your first kind of... Well, before that, let me say this. That's the theme to Jason and Menace to Sobriety. Massive fucking failure, which we'll get into. We'll get into more of that later. But Jack, as you being an outsider almost as far as the performance side goes, what did you think of Menace? Because you were around during these days, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so what did you think of them as being I guess for lack of better terms, I don't even want to say bystander because that's not right. Being somebody who was working for the band, what did you think of the quality of music, or what was your first kind of impressions?
Oh, I was hooked. Like Jason said, I was the only Juggalo really in my town. Actually, the only Juggalo in my town. Yeah, it wasn't even Juggalos then, really. Yeah. Juggalo hadn't taken off that much, but I was a fan more than anything, and I just fucking loved, after I did it a few times, it was just like, I can't believe I'm actually doing this, I actually seen these guys doing what they did, what you guys did in the future. Yeah. But I wasn't going to say that.
So you saw the heights that it ended up
I
reaching.
seen the potential and everything, and I was hooked. Yeah. I loved it.
Jack enjoyed local shows
more than we did.
I mean, they had to pull me out of mosh pits and stuff. I was supposed to be, working and shit, and I'm down there in a fucking mosh pit.
He would get. I remember Jack going to local shows though. Before, like, we was 14, 15 years old, and Jack would leg bone shows, like all kinds of stuff, which I did not participate in.
Explain who Leg Bone is.
Leg Bone is a legendary local punk rock group that everybody loves and respects completely.
First band I ever saw live.
Yeah.
Big. That's a good thing to bring up.
They were the bar.
Leg Bone was big for you guys.
For us, it was always, well, if you're not trying to be as good as them or better, you're shit.
I'm a kid in the jam room with my buddies trying to learn leg bone covers and stuff, and I'm 14. They were the epitome of what we wanted to be.
That was part of the reason why, again, going back to trying to get Jack to come and be part of it, was he was so into everything that we were doing. And he didn't have a lot going on. He was working, he just had a kid. Shit was tough for him, but it was like, I wanted my best buddy to be involved, in any way that I could get him involved. And, Jack had a lot more fun than any of us, probably, really.
For sure. When he wasn't riding bikes through the rain, flat tires to get.
We're jumping way ahead. We'll get there in a couple hours, but we're jumping way ahead. And that can't be underestimated. Like, were you always handy? Because I know we always, kind of used you because you were so handy. Not only the fact that you're a homie, but the fact that you've always been good with your hands. Is that something that always came natural?
Oh yeah, I'm always out there tinkering with something or learning how to build something, put shit together. Yeah.
Thank God, because I
no quitting, Jack.
Yeah.
If you need something done, I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Reliable. 100%. Jack didn't get any credit stage-wise most of the time, but
I didn't want any credit. I just wanted to be there and do
Menace to Sobriety would not have functioned without Jack for years and years and years and years. Yeah. 100%. We had a lot of help. There was a lot of people that helped us along the way. I tried to come up with a list, but it's just too long. Right. Love all you guys. You all know who you are. But it didn't matter. Jack was the guy. Even when we had other help, talk to Jack. Yeah. Jack's going to tell you what you need to do. You know what I mean? Like, Jack was the guy. He was a member without being on stage.
Yeah. Did you ever have any offers from anybody else to work for him? We're in safe space now, so it's okay.
No.
Yeah. No. Nobody ever tried to steal you?
No.
No? No. That's surprising. I figured at least somebody would have tried to, especially in the scene that we were in.
I mean, there was a couple shows like, I don't know if they asked Doc or who they would approach, but like, hey, can we have Jack, take our equipment out on stage or set up our banner or stuff like that, help carry in equipment. It's like,
and we're jumping ahead, but I remember on Spectacular that happened a couple of times.
Yes.
They actually on Spectacular they asked if him and Rock wanted to continue on after we were leaving.
Wow, nice, interesting. Well, let's go back to the brewery here a little bit, because I feel like there's a lot of stories that can be told that maybe not have ever been put back there in the public. What are some of Marty? We'll start with you, and then we'll kind of go clockwise. What are some of your memories when you think of the brewery days? What pops out?
Oh, lots of damage. Damage, dude. We fucked that place up so bad, ripping doors off, fucking people's head through windows, like. holes in walls. Like that, I mean,
Not to mention all the equipment we fried
yeah,
out from
dude,
the
just
beer
yeah, oh yeah,
showers.
you know, like
Yeah,
every
beer
time we
wars.
play, dude, there's a half gallon of fucking beer on
Yeah.
everything.
That's the thing is like Pills of a New Life and Menace had a beer feud going on.
Yeah.
So when we were on stage, we would spray the other band in the face.
Yeah.
We would buy beers just to shake them up and blast them in the face when they're like singing and playing in the middle of a song. And
Yeah. It got
we
bad
fucked a lot of equipment
Yeah.
up, you know, that wasn't ours.
Yeah, dude, we
That-
laid a path of destruction.
At the time, that equipment was way more expensive back then than it would be, even 10 years
Yeah,
later.
and we had no
priceless.
fucking money.
Right.
You know, like,
I don't think the brewery cared though.
Nah.
That's what I was about to ask. What was their reaction to something?
I mean, the place was packed. They didn't
Bro,
give a
they were
yeah.
making money. So
yeah, they were making so much money. You know what? Who gives a shit about this
I
microphone?
think they loved Menace.
Yeah,
Really.
for sure.
I mean, later it kind of got different with new owners and things like that, and we stopped being there so often. But they loved Menace to Sobriety, and it didn't matter. They gave people shit sometimes, but yeah, beer showers, that was
Yeah, for sure.
big deal.
It was just like Brewery days were friendly, dude. Like we spent a lot of time just fucking chilling. Like we just hung out there and partied and played music, dude. It was just like we were in our clubhouse, like most of the time, dude. We knew everybody in there. We were having a good time. Like it was the better days of shows probably as far as comfortability goes. Like later on, things get where we're way bigger shows and we can't just hang out in the giant pile of people that we've been growing up with for all these years. Like back then we knew everybody that was there and we'd known them since high school and stuff like that. And it was just
good old
different.
days when all your friends come to your show.
Yeah. Which they do less when you get bigger. And that's not a shot on anybody. It just is what it is.
Everybody deals with that. In the
Like them
beginning-
people have been watching us play for 10 years already. Why they gonna pay $45 to come watch us play?
In the beginning, everybody is coming to your shows, and then when you start expanding, the everybody gets a little bit less and
Yeah.
less and less. Everybody's dealt with that. I
Yeah,
think.
for sure.
Yeah. Was that the main catalyst to why it stopped? Was just people stopped coming, or was
With the brewery?
yeah?
No, it was just we had played there so much. They were calling us almost every weekend to come
Yeah.
out and play because the band would drop off, and we were like, we already got a show booked in 3 weeks, and they'd want us to come. We're oversaturated.
Oversaturation.
Yeah,
And we were
So,
moving on to
Bigger
mid-sized
shows,
venues
yeah.
at that point.
We were
We were at Alrosa all the time then. Like we had moved from the brewery to Alrosa at that point, where we were playing Alrosa more often. We were in Columbus all the time.
And the local scene was just kind of dying down
Yeah.
because people had seen us a million times. So it just kind of got to a point to where we were moving on.
Yeah.
Moving past the group.
And the bar scene at that time was hard, dude. That was when they outlawed smoking in bars
Yep.
in Ohio. Like
And we
that
saw
hurt-
an
that hurt
immediate
us
drop.
bad.
Really?
in
Yeah, oh, yeah.
attendance.
Just because of cigarettes?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Like
dude.
it killed the music scene.
Yeah.
Like it put a fucking hatchet right.
That's
into
interesting. You said almost immediately you
Yeah.
saw a difference as soon
Yeah.
as
It recovered some, but at first it was like
People didn't want to go
Destroyed
out.
it.
No. The summertime wasn't so bad, but when winter hit, it was
you had
death.
to go outside to smoke.
Yeah, dude, not happening.
And you're drinking, like, who wants to do that?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that.
that's very interesting. I never thought of that being a factor.
And it was all around the same time that we were moving on
Yeah.
to bigger venues
Yeah.
outside of our local area. So, and there was just really no reason for us to continue doing it.
So how many years did that last? Did the Menace thing? What would you say from what to what?
At the brewery,
Yeah.
04 or 05 to 7 or 8, probably.
Yeah, about 2008, I'd say.
Yeah, because we started getting a lot of big shows right around 2007. We started doing a lot of Alrosa Villa shows and a lot of. I think we played the Gathering of the Juggalos
08.
08, maybe the first one.
08 was my first, so you guys would have been there 07.
Yeah, you
I
came
wasn't
to
able to get off work for that one.
you came to the second one. So yeah, 07 was the first one we played.
I know as an outsider at the time, because MySpace, you guys were on MySpace at that
Yeah.
point in time. I was so fucking jealous of you guys. Dude, I would sit there and just anybody, I think I might have told you guys this before too. Anybody ever bring you up, I'd like, fuck them. It sucked. I was such a
You
jealous.
never brought that up.
Yeah, that's a new development.
I was, because it was like,
Joseph?
I got to sit there and watch you guys just start to do shit that I always wanted to do, but and we'll get into this a little bit more, but I wasn't obviously ready as a human being to even attempt to do stuff like that. But as an outsider, I just wanted to be a part of it so bad. But I don't think even if I could never hang with you guys. Because sitting here listening to some of these stories, I'm like, you fucking pour beer on me while I'm on stage, I'm walking the fuck off.
Oh, it wasn't pour beer on you.
Right.
Bro, look, I'm going down to scream. And I'm going to, lean over into the monitor, and I'm talking 2 beers right up my mouth. Straight while I'm mid-scream. So I'm basically just gargling beer at that point.
Just getting upside down waterboarded with alcohol.
Yeah.
Water beard. Water beard.
I understand the because me and Marty were playing at the brewery with Menace, and I'm gonna tell you, we wasn't really headlining. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
He wasn't headlining at all.
We wasn't headlining at all. Yeah.
and so, well, we did trade a couple shows where we would book the show. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
You know.
but that wasn't necessarily like a talent thing. That was
No.
like here, we're gonna let you guys have this one.
Yeah.
We feel like going home early today.
But we were a serious trying to be serious, and these guys were singing songs about smoking weed and fucking bitches and drinking beer. 40 people, trying to attack them on stage, and half of that, they'd all be watching us. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Everybody would be singing Menace to Sobriety, stick shit pimping air.
And they were the better band. They were better songs.
Yeah, we were good.
They were so much better than us. They should have been able to get further along than Menace ever should have been able to do.
Yeah.
But they just killed us. And so there was a little bit of like, what the fuck do we got to do? So that
Join.
Yeah.
Can't beat them, join them.
There's the theme again. There's the theme. Menace to Sobriety. Doc will steal you.
Yeah.
So Brewery starts dying down. Who is responsible for kind of the expansion as far as going to the other venues, like you said, Alrosa? We'll talk about the gathering of the Juggalos here in a minute. Was that primarily a Dave thing?
Dave Johnson.
Dave was the one who handled the business in the very beginning.
Yep.
How did that start? Because at one point you have to just make the decision, or was it like Dave wanted to do this, or who made that decision? Because again, it's very important.
They just started looking for shows.
He just started looking for shows.
Yeah, he just started looking for shows, but he was from the Columbus area, so he kind of had a little bit of, he was already doing shows with Half-Life, so he had some connections coming into Menace.
How did he get connected with ABK and all that?
I don't know how that all worked. That'd be a question for Dave Johnson, but I just remember he, booked a show at the Blue Cat.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think it was our first ABK show.
That was Marty's first show, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Bell Fountain,
Bell
Ohio?
Fountain, I think.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning right there. That show. Once we did that show, and that show wasn't even shit, there was not even that big of a crowd or whatever, at it, but it was that was the beginning of us moving on to bigger, better things.
Yeah. So at this point in time, this is where Menace really started getting into the underground scene. Is that correct to say?
I think Menace was in the underground scene from the get.
I should say underground rap. What Jack was referring to, Juggalo shit. This was when that was going in, or you think that was the appeal from get?
I think it was the appeal from get.
Okay.
I mean, I think the Juggalos just naturally accepted us, and we were like, well, we're going with them.
Yeah. Were
There
you
wasn't nobody else trying to support us.
Sure.
Nobody else in the music world was trying to give us the time of day.
And as Jason just kind of referenced to, you kind of spoke to the scene at the time. It's not like this anymore, but the scene at the time was fucking
I think I was
drinking beer, getting
I
high.
mean, we were all young and
Right.
fucking crazy.
Yeah. You weren't into underground rap, though, before then, were you?
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah. I was going to Hollow Wickeds and fucking ICP shows and shit.
Doc
So I
was
was
into
already,
stuff.
I was already doing
You were
it.
already into
Yeah.
it. But you were not.
When I first
No.
started rapping, when I was rapping at parties, I was rapping generic ass psychopathic sounding raps. My raps were all about death and murder and all that shit. And that's how I first started out, because it was just me fucking around.
Yeah.
He was into Twisted, Cottonmouth Kings. Those are just a couple of the ones that I remember him talking about all the time. Which I had no idea who they were.
And all those people had a big influence on Menace.
I'm sure. What did you first think of it when you started getting around underground? Because again, you both of you guys said you came from a band where you're trying to take it serious, and when you think about underground rap, it's anything but.
It was just different. You know, like it wasn't something like I wasn't knowledgeable about it in the beginning. You know, like as far as I was concerned, like I had listened to like Great Malenko when Great Malenko came out, and then I went hard into metal after that. You know, like, and that was just a phase in metal where that came out. It got super huge. Everybody was like, "This is amazing." You know, who are these guys? As far as pop culture goes, you know, and I didn't realize that it had blown up into what it had years later. Like I didn't know who ABK was prior to this. You know, like I didn't know that there was like this whole subset scene that had kept going on after Great Malenko. You know, because I wasn't in it, and then I started figuring out I'm like, this is a whole damn thing. Like, I don't know how I slept on this whole time. It wasn't the genre of music I was listening to at the time. But, like, I just like playing music, dude. I don't care what it is. You know, it don't matter to me if I'm playing country, if I'm playing hip-hop, or if I'm playing funk, or if I'm playing metal. It's whatever, dude. As long as I get to go out and play, that's where I'm at. It don't matter to me.
Yeah. What about you? Because, again, this was all 100% brand new to you, yeah.
So, there's varying stories, I suppose, on how I took it. At first, not into it. Like, I was not into rap at all. I had I listened to Eminem, you know, that kind of thing, but I wasn't into that kind of music. And I remember them saying, "We got the main stage at the Gathering," and I'm like, "What the fuck is the Gathering? And why are you guys so excited about this?" You know, I at that point known who ABK was. I think we probably had done an ABK show a few times. Because he was a big help. Like, he's the one that floated our name to that guy that I can't remember now.
Probably Billy Bill.
Billy Bill, yeah. I keep forgetting his name, but he was... Those guys made a difference in our career at the time. Yeah. I was not into underground rap at all. After I watched ABK 30 times, I liked his music because you get used to it. You know, you start learning the words, you know. But
this motherfucker became a juggalo day too.
Yeah. Once I got to the Gathering and you're immersed in the culture and the people, I really liked the people. I really, really liked the people, which surprised me because I was sure I wouldn't, you know. Yeah. The first 10 minutes we got there, I'm about to have a panic attack because they're jumping on our RV, you know what I mean? Like, as we're trying to pull into this place, they're jumping on the side of it. I about had a panic attack. Day 2... I'm whooping and, you know, walking around the Gathering. We're all having a great time. It was a shock to my system. I didn't
converted quickly.
Yeah. These are early gatherings. So is this like everybody went to their first one together?
Yeah, I think so.
Jack came the second year.
You came the second.
Yeah. And Jack took every morsel that the Gathering was able to offer him and absorbed it. Like, nobody appreciated the Gathering more than Jack did. Like, because he was a fan. Right. And so he got to go. Home. Yeah, he got to go to that second Gathering with us, and it was a kind of a reward. It's like we were like when we got there, it was like, Jack, you ain't working. Like, have a fun time. When the half an hour, 45 minutes that we got to play, we're all working. Until then,
have at it.
And
he did.
The story I always go back to is you stumbling, falling down into the creek, and I think you may have laid there for a little while.
Yep.
Let's break into that, Jack. Let's talk about your first experience at the Gathering. Let's do it. Start at the beginning.
Well, we roll in. It's like, I don't know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Main gate's not open yet. They told us we had to park in the parking lot, which is just a barren fucking field. These guys are dead tired.
And this is Cave in Rock, right?
Yeah,
Cave in Rock. Okay.
So they all pass out. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get out and, Jason, you know, have fun. You don't have to work. So I get out. By the time they got up, I've done everything that they had to offer. Done went on a helicopter ride and shit. They're still passed out in the vehicle.
Flew on a helicopter.
I did all the drugs and flew on a helicopter while we were napping.
Yeah.
8-foot bong with a 4-foot midget. Fucking
with a 4-foot midget.
I actually hit that bong also.
So I don't think I slept that first year. I think I was up the entire weekend.
He had a great time. I was jealous, really, because you were having so much fun, and
Oh, it was amazing.
could never, like, let go. Everybody knows that. Like, I can't let go and relax that much, but
Yeah,
Jack did.
Heading back to camp, sun's coming up. These guys are just starting to wake up, and I'm falling in the creek.
Yeah.
Just
I remember it, yeah, we was like waking up, and Jack comes stumbling down this fucking hill into the creek, falls down. I'm like, Jack's having fun, you know?
we held that spot for what, 3-4 years, or until they didn't have it at Cave and Rock
Yeah,
anymore.
we held it every year.
We were talking about this when we were putting together the show notes, your guys' infamous spot. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that a little bit. So start at the beginning. What is this spot that you guys talked about? Because accordingly, it was a perfect spot.
Troll Bridge. We called it Troll Bridge.
The first year that we got there, Dave and a few other people had went in early.
Yeah, it was me, and Dave. We were.
When I get there, we pull in, it's me, Doc, and Doc's woman. We pull in an RV, and they're all out in the middle of a field. And I'm like, we ain't camping here. Like, there's a spot right over there, and I see a water spigot. So I backed in there. Everybody moved their shit over there. We had water, we had electric. You know, we had a creek that kind of blocked shade from the trees. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were out in the middle of the field, and I'm like, nah, we ain't doing that. You know?
I remember.
I just got there like, everybody move camp over here.
Yeah.
And we kept that one spot because, again, like, you had to pay big money if you were going to the gathering to have water and electric.
Yeah.
Like, they were the baller campsites.
Yeah.
Two different campsites, regular and then the big ballers or
Yeah.
whatever. That had all those amenities.
And we just happened to steal the one that...
And then we never let go.
Yeah.
We would get there, like, Dave would get there a day or two early just to make sure that we had our spot.
Yeah.
Because it was in the middle of everything, but you could escape there because it was surrounded by, like, the creek kind of surrounded us on the backside, so nobody could come up on us, you know, really. It was the best spot there as far as I'm concerned.
No, by far, dude. We were like at equal distance to food, to every stage, to everything.
Because all the big
dude.
baller campsites are out in the middle of a field.
Yeah,
with a post.
bathrooms were close enough to get to, but far enough away that you didn't have to fucking smell them all
Yeah.
day, every day.
Yeah.
It was a good spot. Drug Bridge was like just a hop and a skip, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see it from where he's at. So,
Yeah, you know.
New people showed up, like, well, we gotta go check that dude
Yeah,
out. You know? Like, see what he had
Setting up a
going.
menu, let's go check her out.
Yeah.
So, Doc, what were your first couple impressions of let's go to the first couple of gatherings? Because obviously, you being a front man, you're seeing everything. You're the one that people normally stop and talk to. First couple of gatherings.
Nobody knew who the fuck we were.
So at the beginning, it was you guys were coming in brand new then. Like, you didn't already have your name established to a certain
I
degree.
wouldn't say we didn't have a little bit of some cred or whatever, but we, like, you know, it wasn't like walking around, people recognized me or anything like that.
Not right away. I think it happened later. You did get recognized some.
Oh, yeah. But I just mean, like, in the beginning, the first gathering, it wasn't like that. You
No.
know?
Yeah, we might as well have been playing on one of the pop-up stages at 3 a.m. in
Yeah,
somebody's
we're playing.
campground, you know? Like, nobody knew who we were other than the people that come with us for the most part.
At the same time, anybody that's ever been to a gathering, everybody, including ICP, is out in the field. You know what I mean? Like, just hanging out, you know, having a good time. Like, everybody was just there doing their thing. Like,
When did you start to notice that change? Was it about second or third gathering where things really started picking up for you guys? The point that we're getting to here is eventually you guys end up getting to main stage gatherings a couple
Our
times.
first year was main stage.
Well, I mean, as far as like crowd attendance
Right.
being massive, when did that wave start to turn?
I want to say after year two. After year two, we did the second stage. That was right around where our campground was at. We did that year, and that was the year that we opened up with Snatch 'Em Up, which we never recorded or nothing. But it like
10th annual, I think.
it seemed real desolate at first. Like they started playing to it's 2 a.m. Like it's fucking cold.
Shit spot.
It's,
shit
yeah, it's dark as
stage.
shit. You know, we're like, all right, fuck it, let's just do this. And then Bobby starts that intro beat, and we hit Snatch 'Em Up, dude. And then all of a sudden, you just see him, dude, funneling in, like just hundreds of people, just funneling and funneling. It was just after that year, it was like then you knew that they were going to be there when we started, and not like they were going to creep up as we were going. Like, who were those guys?
year 3, I think, people were there waiting for us to perform. We started playing at like the Freak Show.
That was a
I
freak
think.
show here, yeah.
Like, there was anticipation for us to perform by some people at that point, you know. So that would have been.
And then the year after that, we played in front of like 5,000-6,000 people on the main stage.
Yeah.
And that was our biggest show we ever did.
What was going through your mind when you saw that many people?
I mean, I know, like, I was just telling these guys about this not long ago. I said, like, I'll still remember this till the day I die, was the look on Jack's face. When he handed me my mic every night before I walk out. And I walk up to him, he's at the staircase. I can't even see the crowd because the stage is so big. And he goes and, like, hands me my mic, and I'm like, is there a lot of people out there? And his eyes were just so big, and he's like, yeah, dude.
This is it.
There's a lot of people out there.
Again, I'm just, every time we have these discussions, I'm just like, son of a bitch. I fucking hate you guys so much.
And I couldn't remember if that even happened. Like I said, like, when we was talking about doing the show here, like, I didn't know if we even did that. That's how fucking many shows we've done.
Oh, yeah.
We did.
Like, remembering them at this point is like, they blend together. You know, there was just so many of them. Like, those ones like that, you remember, you know, like those 5,000-6,000 person ones, but...
Oh, I got a good story about that one.
Let's do it.
So, going back to where, like, he hands me my mic, Jack, everybody else is already up on the stage. Like, they've already walked out, gotten their positions and whatnot. And I'm just waiting on Bobby to start or not Bobby, it was it Money?
Yeah, it was Money.
Well, let's explain that real fast. You guys at one point ended up bringing a DJ, so that's what we're talking about right now. We talk about
we've had several DJs.
DJs. So at this point in time, there is a DJ in the band, and they're playing the intro before you guys go up. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it's B Money, Brandon Owens.
Okay.
God rest his soul. We miss that guy. For sure. But he goes up there. Everybody's up there on stage, and I'm just waiting on the intro, and Jack hands me my mic, and I'm screaming at the other end, like, what the fuck is going on? Start the fucking intro, and Jason's looking back at me like I have no idea what's going on. And I think I hear the intro start for like maybe 2 seconds, something like that. And then all of a sudden it's gone. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I didn't find this out till later, because it was like several minutes later, fucking finally the intro starts or whatever, and then we go up there and we do our thing. But I think Money had accidentally hit eject on his CD player turntable thing.
Yeah.
So
biggest show of your life.
Crowd ever. Our stuff starts and whatnot, and he ejects the damn thing, and we're sitting there. No, because I had ran out on stage. Mm-hmm. I was on stage when that happened.
Oh, when it stopped?
Yeah, because I walked out giving the intro, like, who we are, fucking coming out all hard and shit, like, we're about to tear fucking this place up. And there's 5,000-6,000 people standing in front of us. And all of a sudden the intro just cuts out.
Oh, God.
So I'm just sitting there like, and everybody freezes because we were all trained. You wait for this moment, then this happens, and then we're on our way to, the song starts. And we just had to start the song real quick. But in that moment, I was scared to death.
Right.
I mean, scared to death, because there's 5,000-6,000 Juggalos standing in front of me.
No forgiveness.
No
forgiveness.
They can go real south real quick.
Right. Yeah, not afraid to bomb you right off the stage.
Right. Yeah, because that is a key element to what we're talking about right here. You fuck up in front of that crowd that bad, if it is that bad, rather, they're not only going to let you hear it, but they're going to find whatever is next to them and throw it at you.
Yeah, ask Andrew WK and Tila
Tequila,
right.
man. That's
we were
what I always
there.
go
We
to.
saw that shit happen.
You guys saw Tila Tequila happen.
Yeah, live action.
For those who don't know, let's talk about that. What exactly, to explain exactly how violent it can get.
So, I don't remember who went with me. I think it was Phil. Philip Rendler. So we go to watch Tila Tequila. And she comes on, and immediately, all day they're talking about, fuck this bitch, like, she don't belong here, she's just she had some name recognition at the time, big fake titties. You know, that was her claim to fame. And all of a sudden, she's going to be a rapper. She comes out up on stage, and I'm watching, and I'm like, she's doing all right, you know? And they just start throwing everything they got at her, at all they can. Shit, mud, rocks.
Literal shit, not figurative shit. Literal shit.
Rocks. Hit her so hard in the face with something, it knocked her top off.
Yeah.
Knocked her whole top off. She didn't hesitate for a second, just kept going. Didn't even fucking
Bitch was pro, dude. I'll give it to her. Like,
Yeah.
she's pro.
Tom Green.
This is what y'all wanted anyways.
The comedian Tom Green running around the crowd like, why are you doing this? Stop. It's like fucking Twilight Zone. Tom Green, drunk out of his mind, crazy drunk, trying to get all these juggalos to stop attacking her while she's on stage. And it went so hard. Like, she probably got 4 or 5 songs in, like, and they had to drag her off stage because she was like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna do my shit. So I had big time respect for her that day. Like, again, titties come flying out. She don't give a fuck. Let's keep rapping. You know what I'm saying? Getting hit in the face with literal shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna keep rapping.
And that story made TMZ. I remember that. I was at home when that happened, and I was on MySpace 24/7. And I remember scrolling down, and I saw TMZ, and it said Tila Tequila assaulted. And there's just this picture of her face, and it looked like she got pelted with rocks.
Yeah.
They were throwing
all
rocks.
over her face. Yeah, right. Yeah, so she got fucked up pretty hard.
They chased her back to her trailer.
Yeah.
Smashed the windows of her
They
trailer
chased her back to her
in.
Yeah, because her
Her bodyguard
security.
was like, her security was like, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's over.
They left her there.
I think they just gave up. They went inside the trailer with her and then gave up. Like,
Yeah, they
we're all
drug her
going
off
to die.
stage. They drug her off stage eventually because she wasn't going to leave stage. She was going to finish her performance. And they just chased them all the way to her trailer, trying to kill her, I guess. I don't know. Like, one of the more violent things I've seen at the gathering, really. Like, because most of the time it was very peaceful, very loving, you know, no fights.
About the worst thing you'd see is somebody get hit with a dead salmon.
Yeah.
The fact that we can say worst thing you saw somebody see is get hit with a dead salmon is just fucking hilarious. But I mean, that was the culture at the time. So it's.
There was the year that the dude, the Juggalo, got caught stealing from a bunch of the other Juggalos.
Let's talk about. You guys were there for that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about that. So go ahead and.
So he was stealing from a bunch of other Juggalos, I guess, and family found out.
Yeah, getting in their tents, doing all kinds of stuff, getting in their cars.
And they took the fucking what was supposedly his car and flipped it upside down and caught it on fire.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his car.
It
It was like his family member's car or something like that.
fuck up.
Yeah, you know, like.
Dude had a chain walking
But it
around
was
with the bumper and
associated,
everything.
Yeah, you know, like, but that was what it was, though, dude. That's, you know.
He still had to go home and tell whoever's car it was, hey, guess what?
Yeah, you know.
This happened.
This happened because I was stealing from a bunch of motherfuckers. Gotcha.
Did you guys see that happen?
Yeah.
So you saw the retribution, basically.
Yeah.
What was going through your head?
It wasn't too far from our camp.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, the car wasn't that far from camp.
Always the same thing was going through my head on all that shit. Like, just, this is the Twilight Zone. Like, this is crazy. This is not real.
Yeah, because again, we're talking about all this right now. We have to exasperate the fact that, like, you're an outsider. You, as in Jason. And you have to sit here and watch this stuff happen.
Yeah.
He was full blown juggalo.
So and we're playing
Day 2, bro.
You said he was
the
whoop
first
whooping,
gathering.
right?
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
whoop whooping.
Oh, yeah.
Down for the count.
But it was still, like, I mean, you got to think of the people that you meet there. Like, I met Rowdy Piper. You know, I watched him chug beers. You know what I mean? Like,
Smoked weed with him.
yeah.
Shit, drank a beer with Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
Right. Which these days is probably not the best thing to
No,
consider. Right, but at the time, at the time.
It was fucking dope.
it was cool. You know, like,
Well, it's all about perspective because somebody might hear that and go, "Fuck Ron Jeremy." Well,
Yeah.
at the time, he wasn't.
No.
he was regular.
Yeah, he was
Ron
just regular
Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy,
You know?
right?
But there was just so many instances like that where you were like, where am I and how was this happening?
Yeah.
You know?
How is this legally allowed?
Yeah. How the fuck am I hanging out with Ron Jeremy and Roddy Piper in the middle of a field in fucking Illinois at 2 a.m. doing drugs? You know, like, what the fuck has happened in my life?
Rowdy Piper trying to demonstrate how to bong beers to all these juggalos, like, and showing them, like, and being successful. Like, Cheech and Chong, I seen Cheech and Chong there. Mick Foley, like just people that were like my heroes. You know what I'm saying?
You said also at one point in time you were backstage with Kevin Nash and I think Scott Hall too.
Yes.
Or just
So I don't want to tell the full story.
fair.
But me and Dave Johnson had went to the wrestling stage to do some business because Dave Johnson is a consummate business person, as we all know. And we're walking around backstage, meeting all these, like, I mean, Tito Santana, like, you know what I mean? Like, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. Scott Hall, as advertised, was annihilated. Annihilated. Like, and it was like 2 PM, and he didn't go on until midnight, I think. They were headlining the show, and he, like, can't walk. It's 2 PM. There was just so many wrestlers back there that I grew up watching, you know what I mean? And when they say don't meet your heroes, they were talking about WWF wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? Because they were not great humans, really. You know, very much, everybody served the culture. Half of them died from being addicted to pills and alcohol, and just, they were carnies. That's their lifestyle. And I found that out that day. Like, I found out all my childhood heroes were pilled up drunks that were just out to try to make a quick buck off these juggalos, you know. Right. And it was kind of sad. It was sad for me that day. But I got to meet a bunch of my heroes, you know. That was again, one of those Twilight Zone moments where it was like crazy.
Well, before we get too much farther in there, I do want to say one thing real quick. We can't really tell the full story about that time with just the people sitting here. And it is me, it is this show. I like doing surprises. So, hey, come on in. So I figured we have to have somebody here who can actually tell the full story of Menace to Sobriety from the angle that you might not know.
Oh, that fucking guy.
This fucking guy right here.
Hey yo, fire it up, you hold that blunt. I won't stop breathing, my ass is drunk. You ain't on us, we don't give a fuck. Gotta hate some minds, rub me up, so lock me up. Don't let me out. Gotta keep a couple bats that I can't work out. So let me in, my people.